We're going to be reading the Bible from the beginning to the ending. And today is day one, starting with Genesis. And just a forewarning, there's some difficult words in the Bible, so don't make fun of me if I don't get them all right. But we're going to do our best. So thank you if you join me in this journey. Let's begin. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was empty, a formless mass cloaked in darkness, and the Spirit of God was hovering over its surface. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw that it was good. Then he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day and the darkness night. Together these made up one day. And God said, "Let there be space between the waters to separate water from water." And so it was. God made this space to separate the waters above from the waters below, and God called the space sky. This happened on the second day. And God said, "Let the waters beneath the sky be gathered into one place so dry ground may appear." And so it was. God named the dry ground land and the water seas, and God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let the land burst forth with every sort of grass and seed-bearing plant, and let there be trees that grow seed-bearing fruit. The seeds will then produce the kinds of plants and trees from which they came." And so it was. The land was filled with seed-bearing plants and trees, and their seeds produced plants and trees of like kind. And God saw that it was good. This all happened on the third day. And God said, "Let bright lights appear in the sky to separate the day from the night. There will be signs to mark off the season, the days and the years. Let the light shine down above the earth." And so it was. For God made two great lights, the sun and the moon, to shine down upon the earth. The greater one, the sun, presides during the day. The lesser one, the moon, presides through the night. He also made the stars. God set these lights in the heavens to light the earth, to govern the day and the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. This all happened on the fourth day. And God said, "Let the waters swarm with fish and other life. Let the skies be filled with birds of every kind." So God created great sea creatures and every sort of fish and every kind of bird. And God saw that it was good. Then God blessed them, saying, "Let the fish multiply and fill the oceans. Let the birds increase and fill the earth." This all happened on the fifth day. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth every kind of animal, livestock, small animals, and wildlife." And so it was. God made all sorts of wild animals, livestock, and small animals, each able to reproduce more of its own kind. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let us make people in our image to be like ourselves. They will be masters over all life, the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and all the livestock, wild animals, and small animals." So God created people in his own image. God patterned them after himself, male and female, he created them. God blessed them and told them, "Multiply and fill the earth and subdue it. Be masters over the fish and birds and all the animals." And God said, "Look, I have given you seed-bearing plants throughout the earth, and all the fruit trees for your food. And I have given all the grasses and other green plants to animals and birds for their food." And so it was. Then God looked over all he had made, and he saw that it was excellent in every way. This all happened on the sixth day. So the creation of the heavens and earth and everything in them was completed. On the seventh day, having finished his task, God rested from all his work. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because it was the day when he rested from his work of creation. This is the account of the creation of heavens and the earth. The man and woman in Eden. When the Lord God made the heavens and the earth, there were no plants or grain growing on the earth, for the Lord God had not sent any rain, and no one was there to cultivate the soil. But water came up out of the ground and watered all the land. And the Lord God formed a man's body from the dust of the ground and breathed into him the breath of life, and the man became a living person. Then the Lord God planted a garden in Eden, In the east, there he placed the man he had created. And the Lord God planted all sorts of trees in the garden, beautiful trees that produced delicious fruit. At the center of the garden, he placed the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. A river flowed from the land of Eden, watering the garden and then dividing into four branches. One of these branches is the Phishin, which flows around the entire land of Havilah, where gold is found. The gold of that land is exceptionally pure. Aromatic resin and onyx stone are also found there. The second branch is Gihon, which flows around the entire land of Cush. The third branch is the Tigris, which flows to the east of Ashur. The fourth branch is the Euphrates. The Lord God placed the man in the Garden of Eden to tend and care for it. But the Lord God gave him the warning, "You may freely eat any fruit in the garden, except fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. If you eat of its fruit, you will surely die." And the Lord God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a companion who will help him." So the Lord God formed from the soil every kind of animal and bird. He brought them to Adam to see what he would call them. And Adam chose a name for each one. He gave names to all the livestock, birds, and wild animals. But still there were no companions suitable for him. So the Lord God caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep. He took one of Adam's ribs and closed up the place from which he had taken it. Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib and brought her to Adam. At last, Adam exclaimed, "She is part of my own flesh and bone. She will be called woman, because she was taken out of a man." This explains why a man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united into one. Now, although Adam and his wife were both naked, neither of them felt any shame. Of course, we may eat it. Almost skipped a paragraph. Now the serpent was the shrewdest of all the creatures that the Lord God had made. "Really?" he asked the woman. Hold on. I'm losing my place. Okay, never mind. We're good. Sorry, guys. Okay. "Of course we may eat it," the woman told him. "It's only the fruit from the tree at the center of the garden. We are not allowed to eat. God says we must not eat it or even touch it, or we will die." "You won't die," the serpent hissed. "God knows that your eyes will be open when you eat it. You will become just like God, knowing everything, both good and evil." The woman was convinced. The fruit looked so fresh and delicious. It would make her so wise. So she ate some of the fruit. She also gave some to her husband who was with her. Then he ate it too. At that moment, their eyes were open, and they suddenly felt shame at their nakedness. So they strung fig leaves together around their hips to cover themselves. Toward evening, they heard the Lord God walking about in the garden. So they hid themselves among the trees. The Lord God called to Adam, "Where are you?" He replied, "I heard you, so I hid. I was afraid because I was naked." "Who told you that you were naked?" the Lord God asked. "Have you eaten the fruit I commanded you not to eat?" "Yes," Adam admitted, "but it was the woman you gave me who brought me the fruit, and I ate it." Then the Lord God asked the woman, "How could you do such a thing?" "The serpent tricked me," she replied. "That's why I ate it." So the Lord God said to the serpent, "Because you have done this, you will be punished. You are singled out from all the domestic and wild animals of the whole earth to be cursed. You will grovel in the dust as long as you live, crawling along your belly. From now on, you and the woman will be enemies, and your offspring and her offspring will be enemies. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel." God bless you, On Fire Ministries. Then he said to the woman, "You will bear children with intense pain and suffering, and though your desire will be for your husband, he will be your master." And to Adam he said, "Because you listened to your wife and ate the fruit I told you not to eat, I have placed a curse on the ground. All your life you will struggle to scratch a living from it. It will grow thorns and thistles for you, though you will eat of its grains. All of your life you will sweat to produce food until your dying day. Then you will return to the ground from which you came, for you were made from dust, and to the dust you will return. Then Adam named his wife Eve, because she would be the mother of all people everywhere. And the Lord God made clothing from animal skins for Adam and his wife. Then the Lord God said, the people have become as we are, knowing everything, both good and evil. What if they eat of the fruit of the tree of life? Then they will live forever. So the Lord God banished Adam and his wife from the Garden of Eden, and he sent Adam out to cultivate the ground from which he had been made. After banishing them from the garden, the Lord God stationed mighty angelic beings to the east of Eden, and a flaming sword flashed back and forth, guarding the way to the tree of life. Now Adam slept with his wife Eve, and she became pregnant. When the time came, she gave birth to Cain, and she said, with the Lord's help I have brought forth a man. Later she gave birth to a second son, and his name was Abel. When they grew up, Abel became a shepherd, while Cain was a farmer. At harvest time, Cain brought the Lord a gift of his farm produce, while Abel brought several choice lambs from the best of his flock. The Lord accepted Abel and his offering, but he did not accept Cain and his offering. This made Cain very angry and dejected. Why are you so angry? The Lord asked him. Why do you look so dejected? You will be accepted if you respond in the right way. Ooh, that hits deep. You will be accepted if you respond in the right way. Wow. But if you refuse to respond correctly, then watch out. Sin is waiting to attack and destroy you, and you must subdue it. Later, Cain suggested to his brother Abel, let's go out into the fields. And while they were there, Cain attacked and killed his brother. Afterward, the Lord asked Cain, where is your brother? Where is Abel? I don't know. Cain retorted, am I supposed to keep track of him wherever he goes? But the Lord said, what have you done? Listen, your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. You are hereby banished from the ground you have defiled with your brother's blood. No longer will it yield abundant crops for you. No matter how hard you work, from now on you will be a homeless fugitive on the earth, constantly wandering from place to place. Cain replied to the Lord, my punishment is too great for me to bear. You have banished me from my land, and from your presence you have made me a wandering fugitive. All who see me will try to kill me. The Lord replied, they will not kill you, for I will give you 7 times your punishment to anyone who does. Then the Lord put a mark on Cain to warn anyone who might try to kill him. So Cain left the Lord's presence and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Then Cain's wife became pregnant and gave birth to a son, and they named him Enoch. When Cain founded a city, he named it Enoch after his son. Enoch was the father of Erod. Erod was the father... Okay, fair warning, when it comes to these names, I am probably not going to get them right, but we'll do our best. Mahajlah was the father of Methushel. Methushel was the father of Lamech. Lamech married 2 women, Adah and Zillah. Adah gave birth to a baby named Jabal. He became the first of the herdsmen who lived in tents. His brother's name was Jubal, the first musician, the inventor of the harp and the flute. To Lamech's other wife, Zillah, was born Tubal-Cain. He was the first to work with metal, forging instruments of bronze and iron. Tubal-Cain had a sister named Naamah. One day, Lamech said to Adah and Zillah, listen to me, my wives. I have killed a youth who attacked and wounded me. If anyone who kills Cain is to be punished 7 times, anyone who takes revenge against me will be punished 77 times. Adam slept with his wife again, and she gave birth to another son. She named him Seth, for she said, God has granted me another son in place of Abel, the one Cain killed. When Seth grew up, he had a son and named him Enosh. It was during his lifetime that people first began to worship the Lord. This is the history of the descendants of Adam. When God created people, he made them in the likeness of God. He created them male and female, and he blessed them and called them human. When Adam was 130 years old, his son Seth was born. and Seth was the very image of his father. After the birth of Seth, Adam lived another 800 years, and he had other sons and daughters. He died at the age of 930. When Seth was 105 years old, his son Enosh was born. After the birth of Enosh, Seth had lived another 807 years, and he had other sons and daughters. He died at the age of 912. When Enosh was 90 years old, his son Kenan was born. After the birth of Kenan, Enosh lived another 815 years, and he had other sons and daughters. He died at the age of 905. When Kenan was 70 years old, his son Melahalah was born. After the birth of Malalela, Kenan lived another 840 years, and he had other sons and daughters. He died at the age of 910. When Malalela was 65 years old, his son Jared was born. After the birth of Jared, Mahalalel lived 830 years. I pronounced his name like 5 different times already, in 5 different ways. When Jared was 162 years old, his son Enoch was born. After the birth of Enoch, Jared lived another 800 years, and he had other sons and daughters. He died at the age of 962. When Enoch was 65 years old, his son Methuselah was born. After the birth of Methuselah, Enoch lived another 300 years in close fellowship with God, and he had other sons and daughters. Enoch lived 365 years in all. He enjoyed a close relationship with God throughout his life. Then suddenly he disappeared because God took him. When Methuselah was 187 years old, his son Lamech was born. After the birth of Lamech, Methuselah lived another 782 years, and he had other sons and daughters. He died at the age of 969. When Lamech was 182 years old, his son Noah was born. Lamech named his son Noah, for he said, "He will bring us relief from the painful labor of farming this ground that the Lord has cursed." After the birth of Noah, Lamech lived 595 years, and he had other sons and daughters. He died at the age of 777. By the time Noah was 500 years old, he had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. When the human population began to grow rapidly on the earth, the sons of God saw the beautiful women of the human race and took any they wanted as their wives. Then the Lord said, "My spirit will not put up with humans for such a long time, for they are only mortal flesh. In the future, they will live no more than 120 years. In those days, and even afterwards, giants lived on the earth. For whenever the sons of God had intercourse with human women, they gave birth to children who became the heroes of men, who became the heroes mentioned in the legends of old. Now the Lord observed the extent of the people's wickedness, and he saw that all their thoughts were consistently and totally evil. So the Lord was sorry he had ever made them. It broke his heart. And the Lord said, I will completely wipe out this human race that I have created. Yes, and I will destroy all the animals and birds too. I am sorry I ever made them. But Noah found favor with the Lord. This is the history of Noah and his family. Noah was a righteous man, the only blameless man living on earth at the time. He consistently followed God's will and enjoyed a close relationship with him. Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now the earth had become corrupt in God's sight, and it was filled with violence. God observed all this corruption in the world, and he saw violence and depravity everywhere. So God said to Noah, I have decided to destroy all living creatures, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. Yes, I will wipe them all from the face of the earth. Make a boat from resinous wood and seal it with tar, inside and out. Then construct decks and stalls throughout its interior. Make it 450 feet long, 70 feet wide, and 45 feet high. Construct an opening all the way around the boat, 18 inches below the roof. Then put 3 decks inside the boat, bottom, middle, and upper, and put a door in the side. Look, I am about to cover the earth with a flood that will destroy every living thing. Everything on the earth will die. But I solemnly swear to keep you safe in the boat with your wife and your sons and their wives. Bring a pair of every kind of animal, a male and a female, into the boat with you to keep them alive during the flood. Pairs of each kind of bird and each kind of animal, large and small alike, will come to you to be kept alive. And remember, take enough food for your family and for all the animals. So Noah did everything exactly as God had commanded him. Finally, the day came when the Lord said to Noah, "Go into the boat with all your family, for among all the people of the earth, I consider you alone to be righteous. Take along 7 pairs of each animal that I have approved for eating and for sacrifice, and take 1 pair of each of the others. Then select 7 pairs of every kind of bird. There must be a male and a female in each pair to ensure that every kind of living creature will survive the flood. 1 week from today, I will begin 40 days and 40 nights of rain, and I will wipe from the earth all the living things I have created." So Noah did exactly as the Lord had commanded him. He was 600 years old when the flood came, and he went aboard the boat to escape. He and his wives and his sons and their wives with them were all the various kinds of animals, those approved for eating and sacrifice and those that were not. Along with all the birds and other small animals, they came into the boat in pairs, male and female, just as God had commanded Noah. 1 week later, the flood came and covered the earth. When Noah was 600 years old on the 17th day of the 2nd month, the underground waters burst forth on the earth, and the rain fell in mighty torrents from the sky. The rain continued to fall for 40 days and 40 nights. But Noah had gone into the boat that very day with his wife and his sons. Shem, Ham, and Japheth and their wives with them in the boat were pairs of every kind of breathing animal, domestic and wild, large and small, along with birds and flying insects of every kind. 2 by 2 they came into the boat, male and female, just as God had commanded. Then the Lord shut them in. For 40 days the floods prevailed, covering the ground and lifting the boat high above the earth. As the waters rose higher and higher above the ground, the boat floated safely on the surface. Finally, the water covered even the highest mountains on the earth, standing more than 22 feet above the highest peaks. All the living things on the earth died: birds, domestic animals, wild animals, all kinds of small animals, and all the people. Everything died that breathed and lived on the dry land. Every living thing on the earth was wiped out. People, animals, both large and small, and birds. They were all destroyed, and only Noah was left alive, along with those who were with him in the boat. And the water covered the earth for 150 days. All right, that's page 15, guys. Genesis. We're going to stop here at chapter 8. I appreciate you if you join me today. Once again, I'm not going to get all the words perfect, but we're going to do our best to work through the Bible throughout the whole year. We're going to make it a goal to get all the way to the end of Revelation together. So, peace and God bless.